I'm here back with some progress updates on my app, ways that I've been aggregating comic book data for my process, and a 15 book CGC unboxing. Hey there, today I have a CGC unboxing video, and in this one I'm going to open up 15 slabs that I sent to CGC for professional grading. And before that, I sent these 15 books to the Palm Beach presser, who cleaned, pressed, evaluated my books for me, and then forwarded them on to CGC on my behalf. So I'm going to go through all 15 books. I have the notes, my estimated grades before I sent the books to Ron, the Palm Beach presser, and then his grade estimates, and then finally I will reveal the grade that CGC gave each book. Before that, just a few updates on what's going on with me. First of all, I've been attending the local, it's a comic book collectibles, like small recurring convention or indoor swap meet. It's just a gathering of folks that collect comic books, TCG, sports cards, Pokemon, of course, Funko Pops and all of that. And it recently opened pretty close to where I live in Southern California. So definitely check it out. It's the SCV Collectibles show. Really cool group of sellers. Some of them kind of migrated up from Frankensons that was in, I think, the Inland Empire in Southern California. And so now some of those Frankensons sellers are selling out in Santa Clarita at the SCV Collectibles show. So a really kind of fun way to spend part of your weekend, and really cool sellers there, cruising through comics, Bucky's books, and many others. So definitely check them out. I'm having a lot of fun just walking around and hanging out at the show. So definitely highly recommend that. Second thing is my comic book collecting companion app, Comic Tricks, is going pretty well. I've been working a lot in the background on the data platform, and my hopeful next release sooner than later will finally include searching for books. So right now, if you follow the Comic Tricks app on Instagram, what I do is I post an image there every day. And that's what I used to do on the Moneyball Comics Instagram, and it's kind of the same theme where it's like a book that I feel like has some upside or some potential. It's not necessarily like undervalued or overlooked books. It's just books that are available now for purchase that you could, run through the same process that I'm doing and get a pretty good value book in a CGC high grade, 94, 96, 98. And that's part of the angle is it's a lower risk pickup that I post, meaning if it doesn't get a 9.8, then it still has some upside in the 9s. And so definitely check that out. Download the app. Let me know if you have any feedback on it. But coming soon, I think the next major release is going to be more interactive from the user side in terms of being able to find books rather than me pushing information out. But it's also got a lot of great resources on it. Comic book grading, grade point explanations, direct versus newsstand, just some very quick reference items that if you're kind of out in the wild, like if you're at the SCV Collectible show and you want to look up some information to see, like, should I target a direct or newsstand for this specific book? It has some information there that can help you out. So definitely recommend picking that up. Comic Tricks, it's available on iOS and Android. Now, I want to get to this unboxing. As I mentioned, I will let you know what my grade estimate was, talk about the book a little bit, and then eventually reveal the grade to you. It's a nice mix of books. These are books that I would typically pick up, so a lot of repeat offenders in here, but also trying to find one or two books that, for me personally, are on the higher end of my collection that I've just been holding off getting grading, and I'm finally getting to that point where I'm submitting those to the Palm Beach presser and CGC. Now, let's get this 15 slab box opened up and get to the books. All right, if you're playing along at home and unboxing at home, this is kind of the way that I unbox these now, I turn them upside down with the back cover facing me. That way I can't see the grades at the top, can't see anything on the back. And then I put them back in the CGC box and I grab that first book, cover the grade, and let's see what the first book is. And we're starting off with a real strong one from my childhood. This is Transformers number 8 from September 1985. Man, the Transformers, the Dinobots, and the fact that the Dinobots were on the cover of a comic book. I mentioned this before. I was just obsessed with G.I. Joe and Transformers, the toys, the cartoons, and the fact that there were comic books as well, and I could take those stories with me and read them anytime I wanted, wherever I was. Obviously before the internet and so on. That was it. That was everything. And so I remember vividly chasing the Dinobots toys down and getting those, and then also chasing one of my favorite Transformers issues of all time, Transformers number 8 down. Now for this one, I had graded this an 8.0, but I felt like a lot of the defects were pressable, just a lot of general creasing. Not my original copy. I had picked this one up much later on. Palm Beach noted light spine corner wear, but 9.6 probable. He's saying it's probably a 9.6. Nice bump up from 8.0. Hoping there's an outside shot at a 9.8, but he is noting the spine corner wear, and in my experience with CGC, they're actually more forgiving with spine ticks. I've seen a number of spine creases and color breaking ticks along the spine that they will kind of allow in a 9.8, but if the corner isn't sharp and squared off, it's kind of a no-go. So let's see what they say on this one. An 8.0 that Palm Beach estimates 9.6, and CGC is saying it's a 9.4. Okay, now I don't want to say right off the bat with the first book that it's going to be one of those submissions, but typically between Ron and myself, we're pretty good at estimating, and to already see on the first one that it's a little bit lower, that's disappointing. But he did say the spine corner wear. Wow. I am worried for this submission already. This is one of the best 9.4s I've ever seen. Really, really nice job, Palm Beach Presser, on your work. 9.4 white pages on this one. I definitely do see a little bit of the corner wear in the back bottom corner, but everything else looks flawless to me. That's unfortunate. This was a really strong copy. 9.4 white pages of Transformers number 8. I'll probably still be on the lookout for this one to try and get the 9.8. All right, well, let's keep it going. Let's see how the submission does. Again, small sample size, just one, but let's take a look at the next one. And we have Amazing Spider-Man 254. This is from July 1984, and this is the newsstand edition. I could not find anything interesting about this book. It's a great classic issue of Amazing Spider-Man. No offense to the creators or anything, but just in the middle of the great Amazing Spider-Man run of those first 350 to 400 issues, there's a lot happening in just about every issue, except for this one. There is Spider-Man on top of a bus of some sort, or truck, but that's really about it. I had estimated a 9.4 when I graded this and felt like it had some upside, and Palm Beach noted light color loss at the back top edge near spine, 9.8 possible. So let's see, Amazing Spider-Man 254. Yeah, it's going to be one of those submissions. So what I mean by one of those submissions is essentially the grade that it should get, it's going to get one grade under. And so already 9.6 probable becomes a 9.4, and a 9.8 possible becomes a 9.6. I have no business submitting this book if it's not going to get a 9.8, unfortunately. So, boy, I'm really worried for the rest of it, but we're going to keep going. Again, this isn't fun for me, already being disappointed in the first two books, but it is sort of fun in a way just to kind of see if these theories kind of hold up, where you get a particular grader that is really, really hard on your books, and the grader carries that strictness all the way through. But yeah, this book has minimal value in a 9.6. But let's keep going and let's check with all of the different grading estimates. Let's just see what happens. Here's Captain America 230. This is from February 1979. And this one was interesting because Ron reached out to me and he noticed that there was a spinner rack crease line on the back bottom edge. And he's really great if you talk to him about all of the different services. He will pre-screen, he will let you know kind of what he thinks the book will get, and then you can kind of decide if you want to continue or not. He has a lot of different services at a lot of different pricing tiers, so definitely check out what he has to offer. For me personally, I just go ahead and push everything through. If I made a mistake, I made a mistake. I'll own it. I end up kind of moving on from those slabs. Those are probably some of the first that I send off to my comic shop for consignment. So I want to see, kind of what grade it gets. This is part of my learning process too, because if we both feel like this book is not worth pressing and grading, and we're wrong or we're right, it's like I have to kind of push some books through just so I can learn. And so he estimated a 9.0 question mark on this and went ahead and pressed it for me. And let's see, Captain America 230. Okay, what is what's going on? All right, so I'm laughing. Hopefully, Ron, if you're watching, you're laughing too. This was the one that you estimated a 9 with the spinner rack crease line on the bottom edge. I could even see just a minor spine tick in the bottom corner too. This looks just as good or just as bad as other books, but I love this cover. This one popped a little bit when that terrible Captain America 4 movie with Red Hulk, because there was a quick image with the Red Hulk smashing the shield. It was basically like this exact image. And so people were so hungry to speculate on something. And so this book popped a little bit. But I'm telling you, like, the Transformers #8 looks just like this. There's a little bit of corner damage on this book, and the Transformers 8 looks identical. And Transformers got a 9.4. So this got a 9.8. I'll take this in a 9.8. This is great. I love this cover. Love Cap fighting the Hulk here. This is great. So thank you, Ron. I appreciate the dialogue in this one. Glad it came out. And thank you, CGC Grader, for being super harsh on the first 2 books and a little lenient on the next book. All right. Well, now I'm all over the place. So now we've got 3 books, and I don't know what direction this is going to go, so we have to keep going and check it out. Next is Werewolf by Night 35. This is from November 1975. Now, I had given this book a 9.0, and Ron noted light cover wear and light tanning on the back cover. Looks nice and clean to me, so really great job on the back cover. But he estimated here a 9.4 plus on a 9.0 book, and I send these, love the 1975 releases because it just slips in the modern tier for CGC. And these Werewolf by Night, a lot of these Marvel horror books around that like 1975 to 1977, 78, you can get really nice value even in a 9496, which is why I continually send these in. So let's see, Werewolf by Night 35. I had given it a 9. Palm Beach estimates 9.4 plus, and CGC said, oh, here we go. We're right back to it, 9.2. Now, he did notice the light tanning on the back cover, and maybe that's what kind of did it in, as CGC agreed with that. But, 9.2 white pages. And like I said, too, it doesn't bother me too much because these are the books that I do consign with my comic shop. I am not necessarily in the end game now, but I am moving towards a progression of paring down my collection. And my comic shop has been really good to me for sending slabs like this off for consignment. I will typically get a pretty good price at auction, but I'm probably just getting my money back or losing a little bit when these happen. So, like I said, these are still books that are collectible and desirable. They're just not for me. These are not long-term keepers in a 9.2. But it's, as we all are, we're at the mercy of CGC and its graders. So that's too bad. Really thrown off by that Cap 230. All right, next is Star Wars number 4. This is from Marvel Comics, October 1977. And I sent Palm Beach Presser 3 Star Wars books, some early Star Wars books. I had graded this one a 9.0. Palm Beach estimated light spine cornerware with fibers, 9.6 minus. And CGC gave this one a 9.6 white pages. I feel like all these Star Wars books are probably going to get a 9.6. Really great Darth Vader cover on this one, and this is still the adaptation of A New Hope. So the story goes, the quick story is the comic book creators got basic storyline and had to adapt it to comics around the time that the movie was released. So the first 4 issues are an adaptation, and then starting with issue 5, they were all kind of new stories using the same characters, and the creators had to follow certain rules, like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker couldn't meet because they were working on Empire Strikes Back. So the book kind of took a turn and had some very interesting character introductions and everything, but this is essentially the last part of A New Hope, issue 4 of Star Wars from 1977, getting a 9.6. Moving to the next one, one issue back. This is Star Wars number 3, same explanation. This is part 3 of A New Hope, also from 1977, the month before. And this one, kind of the same story. I gave a 9.0. Palm Beach had some additional notes. Tiny spine color breaks, light wear at bottom spine corner with fibers, light foxing spots on the back cover near the top edge, 9.6 minus. And CGC says 9.6. So, I mean, this is the thing. You can almost use the notes that Palm Beach Presser's giving you and then kind of the way the submission's going and predict the grade and be spot on. So here, 9.6. Again, these are really early Star Wars single-digit issues from the late 70s. So they're going to be collectible, which is why I send them in. I'm just hoping that, it hits the 9.8. If I'm trying to stay positive and not let my emotions get the best of me in terms of disappointment, these are all getting grade bumps, right? I'm literally assessing the book, rating it myself, giving it a 9.0, and Palm Beach Presser is helping turn these books around into a 9.6. So really great work and appreciate the grade bump. Let's see what Star Wars 11 gets. This is from May 1978. This one I had given a 9.2, so it might have a chance at a 9.8. Palm Beach noted tiny spine color breaks, very light wear at the bottom spine corner, and he estimated a 9.8/9.6. So still could go either way. We're at the mercy of the grader, and it got in worst grade 9.4 white pages. And so this happens too, right? Like you've seen some of my past unboxings. This will happen to me, and it will be a consistent run where these books, the grading is harsh, and then I'll have 2 or 3 unboxings after that. I don't know which one is correct. It's part of the problem is the inconsistency with the grading. It's the inconsistency with the whole overall experience. These are the same books that I continually send through the process. Typically we'll get 9.6s and 9.8s, and this one I'm just getting punished and getting 9.4s and 9.6s. Just again, 1 grade down from what I would normally get. I got to get through the rest of the submission, and I appreciate you bearing with me. Again, it's all data, it's all experience, so it is worth it. Here's one that's worth it. Classic X-Men number 1. This is from September 1986. Love this book. This is how I started to read the early X-Men issues. When I became an X-Men reader, the great, like the Dark Phoenix saga, all of that had passed already. And so this was a great way for me to get up to speed. Had great Art Adams covers, great backstory, additional stories at the end, notes from Claremont. It even included like some panel changes, kind of the way they would restructure it. Like characters would have different dialogue because in retrospect, the dialogue didn't make sense at the time. It's a really kind of interesting way to read the books, not as pure as if you were reading the originals, I understand that, but a great way for me as a new reader to hop on board with X-Men. So let's see, Classic X-Men number 1. This is the direct copy. I gave it a 9.4. Palm Beach gave no grader notes and said 9.8 possible. So this is the first one in this submission where there were no grader notes, and Palm Beach just said it's possible a 9.8. Again, he's not going to say it's going to get a 9.8 because we are dealing with a particular grader here. So let's see what this gets. And thank goodness it got a 9.8. Wonderful. Love this Art Adams cover. I believe this became a poster, an advertisement, all of the above, you name it, but just a gorgeous Art Adams white background, classic X-Men cover. And what's great about this too is when you would open the book, right on the inside, on that first page, there was like a table of contents, and it was a new Art Adams piece of art. And that was always fun for me to open up and see another. So he would, brand new, he would do the cover and then do another piece of art. It wasn't a splash page, it was more around the table of contents, and then you turn the page and then it was the reprinted X-Men comic. I believe this was giant size X-Men 94, right around there. So a fun way to go back and collect, and also some great Art Adams artwork. All right, classic X-Men #1. We'll put that one up. Okay, and here we are, X-Men 205, the newsstand edition. This is from May 1986, and this is around the time that I was reading. So you can kind of see, like, I was really probably a John Romita Jr. X-Men reader and fan. That was right around the times that I started. It was, oh gosh, in the issue 170s, 180s is where I picked it up. And at this point, X-Men was so mainstream and everything. But this is a really interesting and great Wolverine cover, and also the newsstand copy is particularly interesting in terms of value if you can get it in a 9.8. It's one of those where a lot of the data analysis that I run, I do a lot of direct versus newsstand analysis, and you'll just see a fair market value for a particular issue one way or another, and it's important to me to know the difference so that if I am hunting down a book and I see somebody has the direct and the newsstand for sale and it's the same price, and I know that one has extreme value over the other, I grab it. So part of that is just my own education and analysis of the data, and this was one of those that I definitely wanted to pick up. Uncanny X-Men 205, I had graded myself as a 9.0. Palm Beach noted small spine color break at the top staple, 9.8/9.6. The last scenario we had with almost very similar grader note and similar grade estimate, it was a 9.6. Let's see what CGC says on this one. Okay, 9.2. I am not one for like cracking and resubmitting. I feel like it's so expensive to get books graded now. Everything's going up in price. CGC prices are still, up there. It's very expensive. So yeah, for me personally, I can't afford to grade books twice. I just can't. None of these books, these aren't, X-Men #1. It's classic X-Men #1s. This is such a huge disappointment to have essentially two people that are experienced go through the books and then CGC come back and say, no, you're both wrong, when I have so much data for us being accurate that it's just ridiculous. So this is a real shame. You're kind of seeing my real raw emotions, and I do apologize, but I don't apologize for my honest feedback, but these are comic books, they're graded books. If they don't get a 9.8, oh, boo-hoo, woe is me. But, it's really dumb, like, that I've done this for, I don't know how, 1,000 slabs, and have all of this data, and I'm just going through it right now, and you're watching me go through it. Hopefully it's not too painful. Let's just keep going. Amazing Spider-Man 319. This is from September 1989. This is just me picking up great Todd McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man books and hoping to get as many high-grade McFarlane Spider-Mans as possible. Of course, 298 through 301, those are his first issues and the most collectible, but I do like collecting these that came after. Just flipping through them, the cover art, everything McFarlane, it's awesome. So I love sending these in. I had graded this a 9.6 and felt like it just needed a little bit of a press, a little bit of TLC from Palm Beach to get it up over into a 9.8. No grader notes, 9.8 possible, and CGC also said a 9.8. So when Palm Beach is not giving any grader notes, a 9.8 possible, that seems to do the trick. It's got to be almost a slam dunk 9.8. I mean, it has to be essentially a pristine comic book with no defect at all whatsoever, and that's what this one is. It's absolutely crisp all over. I mean, if I was being a harsh grader, I would say in the top spine there's the tiniest of color breaks in the corner. So shouldn't this get a 9.6 then? I don't know. And again, that's where some of the inconsistency sets in. But I will take it. I am putting together a run of these ASM by McFarlane, the post 301 ASM, trying to get as many of these in a 9.8. So there we go. So there's a little bit of consistency there in terms of what I could guess on the grade based on the notes. Next is Alpha Flight 33. This is from April 1986. I like this one. It's the first appearance of Lady Deathstrike. It's also a Mike Mignola cover. So his covers are also very collectible. This one was kind of strange to me. I estimated an 8.5 when I graded it, but didn't see a lot of color loss on the book. And Palm Beach noted a 9.8 possible. So this would be one of the largest jumps if it got all the way up to a 9.8 from an 8.5. And let's see if CGC did give it a 9.8, and it did. So again, I'm happy that I was able to assess not a mid-grade book, but an 8.5 of this book is potentially something that you would get in a $1 or $2 bin. But what I noticed is that there were definitely some areas for improvement, so much so that I thought it would get a 9.8, and Palm Beach Presser agreed. 9.8 white pages on this one. Yuriko Oyama becomes Lady Deathstrike. So happy about that. That was a fun one to submit as an 8.5. So thank you, Ron, moving that from an 8.5 all the way up to a 9.8. Really appreciate that. Okay, kind of a fun one here. We have, well, it's a comic book. So if I'm not already embarrassed, then why not? But here we go. This is Smurfs #1. This is December 1982, the newsstand edition of Smurfs #1. I don't even know how I started tracking this book, why I was interested in it. I feel like it was just one of those that I saw on Mile High Comics, was a newsstand. And thinking back to my comments around G.I. Joe and the Transformers, there were other kids reading comics and probably parents buying them Smurfs comics because also big, popular cartoon. So pretty harmless. Hey, here's a comic book, here's Smurfs, and kids would probably just beat it up and not really take care of it. And so the fact that you have a children's book essentially plus the newsstand edition, I just felt like this would be a fun one to pick up and try and see if I could turn it into a 9.8. This too, I had estimated an 8.5. No greater notes, 9.8 possible. So if the theory holds up, this should get a 9.8 from CGC, and CGC decided to give this book a 9.8. So out of all of these, Smurfs gets the 9.8. But here it is. Pretty cool. Newsstand all the way back to 1982. Really nice, clean copy. Label says based on the NBC animated television series. Interesting, no creator credits here, but 9.8 white pages on Smurfs #1. Thank you again, Palm Beach. Back-to-back 8.5s, jumping all the way to a 9.8. So a little bit of redemption there with a couple of interesting books. We have this book and then two more to go. This is Uncanny X-Men 152, December 1981, the newsstand edition. It's one of those I'm always finding at a good price and has a pretty consistent value in a 9.8. So I love sending it to Palm Beach to see if we can get the bump up. For this one, I had estimated a 9.2. And again, this is right in the middle of the submission that I sent to Ron that are all getting a 9.8 possible with no greater notes. So here we are, X-Men 152, the newsstand, and it also got a 9.8. Now if we're starting to average out the results, I am getting some 9.8s, so all is not lost. Just particularly disappointed, not so much like, oh, I didn't get 9.8s on every book, but just looking at the condition of the book in the slab, I don't know. This looks super clean, pristine, great work, Palm Beach. Absolutely love it. Back of the book looks super white and clean, just like it came off the spinner rack, as if I picked it up yesterday, so that's awesome. Really love it. X-Men 152, the newsstand edition, getting a 9.8. All right, so the last two books are what I would consider to be the bigger books. This one, I think at first glance, it's not that big of a book, but kind of thinking back to my comment around direct versus newsstand, and this one, it does fit the bill. So I am excitedly nervous about the next two books. But here we go. Let me explain this one, Web of Spider-Man number 36 from 1988. This is the newsstand edition, and this book features the first appearance of Tombstone. There are a lot of rumors around the next Spider-Man MCU movie, and it could feature Mr. Negative. It's likely to feature Tombstone. We don't know what capacity. It could be just, a passing character, or they could have a more prominent role. We don't know yet. So there's some speculation on this. Tombstone was a secondary villain, I would say, and would show up often in Spectacular Spider-Man and Web of Spider-Man, more so than Amazing. And so, because I was collecting all three titles, was very familiar with Tombstone, and ended up kind of fingering my back catalog of my original collection. So this is my original copy that I had, and I could just tell because I had a run of Web of Spider-Man. They were all newsstands where I would just hitting up 7-Eleven or the liquor store, the Thrifty, where I would get ice cream and comics, all of that stuff, and I would just go and grab them. And I was always very particular taking them off the spinner rack. I was trying to be careful not to buy the books that are all bent and folded over. And this one looked pretty good, and so I wanted to send it in particular because of the rarity and the value of this version, the newsstand. Now, I had estimated a 9.2. Palm Beach did have some notes on this. Light blunt of bottom spine corner with slight color loss, spine color break on black back cover, rough manufacturing cut on the back top edge and bottom right corner. There's no way this is getting a 9.8. There's just no way, not in this submission. I want to guess here. Now, he estimates 9.6 plus. I feel like this is a 9.2, right? Like I estimated a 9.2, well, or maybe a 9.4 because it was kind of, our grades have been kind of in the middle. So I'm going to say 9.4 is what CGC is going to give this one. Web of Spider-Man number 36, the first appearance of Tombstone, the newsstand edition, and got a 9.6. Okay, great. Got the grade bump. All of that's all well and good, but the 9.8 of this book is ridiculous. It's like $300 or $400, I think, for just a kind of a one-off, you would say, Web of Spider-Man. And I just think there were a couple of color breaking ticks in the spine that just did this again. So I knew this was kind of a long shot, but to get in a 9.6, first appearance of Tombstone. Again, the reason I do this, of course, I'm shooting for the 9.8, but I want to send books in that I'm certain will at least get kind of a minimum grade where it has value. So this 9.6 newsstand definitely has value. I bought it for 75 cents back in 1988, so a nice little investment for 3/4. So not bad there, but was really fingers crossed on this one, hoping for the 9.8. But I'll take it. 9.6, the newsstand Web of Spider-Man 36, first appearance of Tombstone. Now, last but not least, this was something that I learned as well. This book I had held on to for a while. I had purchased a 9.6 straight away from Heritage Auction back at the peak. So I forget what I paid. It was probably something crazy. Like I feel like I paid over $300 for the 9.6, which is laughable now, of course. But I had always loved this character, had always coveted this book, and this book came out a little bit after I stopped collecting during my first original comic book collecting phase when I was young. So I missed out on this character. What I had learned is you can buy a custom label upgrade from CGC and they will ship it back to you in your shipment now. The way it used to be is you would select a custom label and they would break it out into a separate shipment and you'd have to pay separate shipping on that. So this was something I wanted to try out because I am hopeful this got a 9.8. I wanted to put a custom label on it. It's an important book for me. And I wanted to see if they would still do that separate shipping. So I selected the label during the process. And when I was going through the checkout, I never saw anything that said, hey, you're going to have 2 shipments. How do you want signature delivery, or the presentation of different shipping options where you have to make a decision. I didn't see any of that, and so I just felt like, all right, well, somehow I'm going to get this book back, hopefully. And sure enough, I can tell from the back that it did get a custom label, and the book is Uncanny X-Men number 266. It is the debatable first appearance of Gambit. He appears in multiple panels in an Uncanny X-Men annual, but this is what the community has selected as the first Gambit book that is what everybody kind of covets. And of course, it's a little bit of like a Hulk 181 situation, or maybe even Amazing Spider-Man 300, although Venom's not on the cover there, but of like the character is prominent in this book, and we love the cover. And so that's kind of what we're dealing with. So I'm not here to debate first appearances, but this is the first full-blown Gambit appearance with him on the cover, and it is the popular Gambit appearance, early appearance, first appearance that everybody loves. I love it, and I hope Palm Beach loved it. I ended up giving this book a 9.4 when I picked it up, which was above, I think, what it was listed at. I think it was a VF plus, and I got it back. Didn't do anything to it other than grade it, and to me it looked like a 9.4. Palm Beach did not provide any grader notes and gave it a 9.8 probable. So if you've been with me this entire video going through, oh, I hate to say it because I'm going to jinx it, but these are the ones that all got a 9.8. X-Men 266, the quote-unquote first appearance of Gambit, and CGC gave it a 9.8. All right. What... I was going to say what a disaster, but how could you say that when you get a great book like this? I don't do a lot of custom labels, but man, that looks gorgeous. That looks super nice to have the Gambit custom label, blue label, 9.8. A fantastic, fantastic job. Thank you, Palm Beach Presser, for your work on this, for your work on all the books. When I'm disappointed in the grades, it's really between myself and CGC. With Palm Beach Presser and Ron and the work he does, I'm never disappointed. He's a super great guy, loves to communicate. He will always help you with your submission. Just look him up, tell him Moneyball Comics sent you, and you won't be disappointed. This is just me kind of expressing some emotions or going through some emotions of like trying to figure out, where books fit in my process and what books I should be submitting, and going through a tough stretch of books, but also I did get a nice chunk of 9.8. This is going to be one of the centerpieces of my collection now. And I can potentially move on from the 9.6, which also will help. So this is now, as I mentioned, like moving towards a certain point in my comic book collecting journey. I've now started to get duplicates of some books, and some books I've been able to upgrade. So I'm really, really fortunate here. This was an old Infinity Comics thing where it was a VF plus. I scrutinized the scan, zoomed in. This is back in the day when they were putting grades on all the books, and now I go over to Hip Comic every now and then. And it looks a complete mess. But this is one of those from a couple of years ago where I'm like, there's no way that's a VF. It's got to be like at least a 9 or 9.2. Had to bid up, had to really put in a strong bid to pick it up, but really happy that I did. Really, really pleased that I sent this to Palm Beach. Colors on this, sometimes this book looks a little faded. The colors are really, really solid. This is about as nice a copy as you're going to get, so I'm really, really pleased with this. I would have been really bummed. Honestly, if all the rest got 9.8s and this got like a 9.4, that would also kind of sour the submission too. So all in all, pleased that I'm going through the process. Appreciate the education. Appreciate Palm Beach. Appreciate you watching and sticking with me through this video. And we will do this again soon. Thanks for watching. Happy collecting. And see you next time.